Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 8 a.m. Thursday, March 12th, right here on Jocks. Some fun conversations, hour number one. Hour number two, going to move into the SEC basketball tournament, talk some college hoops with you. It is March Madness, so we will lean that direction just a little bit more each and every day right here on Jocks. And you can always listen to us, jocksfm.com. The app is in the App Store, iPhone, Android. Download that for free. Search Jocks945. That will also direct you to not only the podcast of interviews, full segments, but the YouTube page where you can watch us live every day. Jocks945 is where you're going to want to search for that. Or if you're rolling around the house, just tell your home smart speaker to enable the Jock skill.
Bill Smith Buick GMC is the GMC Dealer of the Year again. That's 9 times overall. That's 6 years in a row. You will not find a better GMC dealer in the entire country. Very few are even in the mix on this level. It's incredible to know that they won the national championship. That's according to General Motors, 6 years in a row. So congrats to the team up there in Coleman. It's a short drive up I-65, exit 310, Highway 31 to go find some deals that you just won't find anywhere else. Like a GMC Sierra 1500 Denali Ultimate. This is 2026. $87,390 is the list price. You can take $14,500 off the sticker. You get it for just under $73,000 at $72,890. It's deals like that that keep people coming back. There's a reason why 75% of their business is repeat customers. That's because you have a better experience when you shop with Bill Smith. Take the short drive to Coleman. You'll be glad you did. You can also shop online, have it delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com.
All right, let's go to the Higginbotham hotline. Welcome in John Sonvold of the SEC Network. Talk a little SEC tournament from yesterday. Did you see anything any different from Auburn outside of Kevin Overton being hot from behind the three-point line that can carry over today against Tennessee and give Stephen Pearl's team a better chance to get this win than maybe you would have thought yesterday?
Good morning, Cole. Good morning, Greg. The bad part is you guys said you're going from fun conversation now to basketball. So anyway, I'm not sure what the conversation was.
We were asking if you were going to be. The question was if you would get $1 million if you listen to one album for 48 hours. We then determined that was too short a period of time, so a week straight. One album a week straight.
$1 million.
Probably termed better if it's like we go from a dumb conversation to one that's actually relevant and important. We basically, in an effort to make ourselves feel better, we declare our dumb conversations as, quote, fun conversations.
That'd be an easy one. But anyway, let's go to, you ask about, Auburn was better in the second half. I thought they were, I don't even know what the word is, tight. They just haven't been very good for the last few weeks. And they were the same way yesterday in the first half. But in the second half, obviously, they got it going to an extent where, that gives them a little lift. Mississippi State wasn't great second half. But you know what? Does Auburn need to win? In this position, I think you always have to win. I wouldn't put it up to any committee when you're sitting on those last 4 in, first 4 out, 4 buys. So can Auburn get it going again against Tennessee? Yeah, they can. They could have a good afternoon, and I thought the second half showed that maybe there's some life still in the Auburn Tigers.
What was it that they did in the second half that made it so interesting? Because it was, from just a casual observer, it's like, goodness gracious, things clamped down on defense for sure. The second half, they started shooting it better, obviously. They forced some turnovers, got some steals. What was it that they did specifically in the second half that made it different?
Well, I thought it was the energy. I just thought they were different. At halftime, I thought they were done. I thought, my gosh, they didn't seem to care. I don't mean that in a bad way, because they probably do, but I just thought their energy was better. I thought everything changed. I thought defensively against Hubbard, they were better. Probably a little more to the scouting report of what they wanted to do versus the first half. And, if you make a shot or two, that changes energy. Maybe that's the energy changer for them. But, if their 3 guys, their 3 scorers can play together and not just selfishly play by themselves, then you got a chance. If it's a one-on-one game, for each of the 3, whether Hall takes it or Pettiford, then I think they run into problems if it's just a one-on-one game. If they at times work together, they're pretty hard to defend. Now, Tennessee will guard the hell out of you. They'll hold and grab, and they'll be physical. But on the other end, can Tennessee score? They have a hard time at times scoring the basketball. I mean, they're going to defend. They're going to do all the stuff. But they can go for some dry spells, and, will Nate Amen, will he be, healthy and good and ready to go?
How much confidence have you gained with Kentucky, either recently, last week or so, just from yesterday? We know what that arena is going to be with BBN in the house, like of what damage they might be able to do in this tournament.
Not much, to be honest. I think they're okay as a team. Now, could they beat Missouri? Yeah. I mean, Missouri got them in rough first week of the SEC season. Missouri's good. Play off of the all-league player Mark Mitchell, and if Missouri shoots it, if Missouri's supporting cast shoots it well, I think Missouri wins that game. I think Kentucky's an okay team. I don't think they're great. Now, again, Big Blue Nation will show up. They'll be loud. If they can defend Mark Mitchell in a way that, doesn't allow Mitchell to get 25 or 30, and the supporting cast for Missouri doesn't shoot it great, then, yeah, I mean, Kentucky's got athletes. They got players. But I'm not sold on Kentucky, unless they do something way differently than what they've shown. I think they're just the same team we've seen for a long time this season. Kind of good, kind of not good, and I don't know if that's good enough. If they get by Missouri, then here sits Florida waiting for them, and Florida just wants to beat the hell out of everybody for some reason, and good for them.
When we asked this question yesterday in the SEC tournament specifically, Florida or the field, I went Florida, Cole went field. Cole's biggest reasoning is that they don't need it, and it's totally fair.
Yep.
But how big is that gap between Florida and the next best team in your eyes?
Well, I think it's pretty big, and it showed during the year. So let's go back. The SEC wasn't great November, December. It wasn't like the year before. And I mean that by all the teams that played out of conference, all the big games. Yeah, there were a couple big games the SEC won, but not many. It did not look good. And then all of a sudden you get in the league play, and Florida gets better and just boat races the league. I mean, they win the league easily, which I don't know if I saw that coming because the backcourt's a little iffy at times. But you know what? I think they're way ahead of everybody. So I would think they're the favorite. And the other part is Todd Golden is he likes to put it on people. We've seen it from the sideline. He loves beating the heck out of people, and you get that double bye, and so now you get to show up and play 3 days. Are there teams that can beat them? Yeah, maybe, but I don't know who's shown that. Again, Missouri beat them to start the SEC season. So would that be an interesting matchup? Yeah, it would be to see. And the reason Missouri can play with them is because they've got bigs. They got a bunch of tall, physical dudes, which that's how Florida wants to play. The rest of them, you're gonna have to catch Florida if you're Alabama or Arkansas on that other bracket. If you make it, you're day 3. Those teams rely on jump shooters. Day 3 is a little tougher. Florida relies on the physicality of just how they play. So I'd take Florida again and not the field, but we'll see.
John Sunvold, SEC Network basketball analyst, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline talking SEC tournament. If it weren't Florida, if it weren't Alabama, who do you think you would next have the most confidence in to actually go win this tournament?
Well, I'd probably go down to Arkansas. I think they, what they showed last Saturday, the last game of the year, at Missouri without the best player in the league, Acuff, in a hostile environment. Arkansas's got dudes now. They got real dudes. Now, can they physically play with a Florida team? That's the challenge. But besides that, they got the dudes. Trevin Brazile is probably their X factor. 6'10", can shoot it, can jump out of the gym, been around for 5 years, played his first year at Missouri, but been around a long time. I think they're the team that athletically, and again, if people don't understand, Darius Acuff's he's just a different guy. And I'm glad he was player of the year, even as a freshman, well-deserved. He'll be one of the top 5 to 10 picks in the draft. controls every game. I'm not saying he can dominate Florida guards, but he's better than the Florida guards. So if Arkansas can get to that spot, and I think we all would love to see an Arkansas-Alabama rematch of what they played in Tuscaloosa. I think the Razorbacks in this tournament and the next tournament, because of ACUF and the amount of studs they just have as athletes, have a chance to win this thing.
What about Bama? They finished so strong. The Arkansas game, the Tennessee game, even if it wasn't their best stuff, still found a way. Obviously got against Georgia, but that happens. No shame there to lose one after running kind of a tightrope dance there for a while. How do you like their chances heading into the tournament?
Well, I like them because they're healthier. They've got guys back. Their bigs are playing better. Philon is just he's unbelievably good. Their guard court's unbelievably good. Just so, and that's, you get in the tournament and it's all about matchups, but I think their bigs are now healthier and good enough to compete and play. And their guards are usually better than most guards. So I love how they're playing. Now, Greg is an Alabama guy. It'd be real interesting if the NCAA came and hammered them before they got in the tournament. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? If they didn't let them play. People haven't talked about that, but since the NCAA has lost every battle with every school, that'd be an interesting one, wouldn't it? If they said, Alabama didn't make the tournament.
Do you have any reason to believe that they try to lay anything down on Alabama?
I don't think they would, but if let's say you guys work for the NCAA and you've just gotten hammered in the corner of the ring all the time, right? About everything. You lose every legal case. And here comes Alabama, who played a player that shouldn't have played. Let's be honest, shouldn't have played. There's rules. Should not have played Bediako. At some stage, somebody in Alabama, the head coach wanted to play him. The AD should not have played him. The board, the president, the board of regents, Bediako should not have played. By rule, he shouldn't have played. So let's say you two guys are on the committee for the NCAA. You're 0 for everything. Would you not like to have one win and say Alabama's not in the tournament? And then when they come back, say, okay, we'll have a judge decide, since that's what everybody does. And then all you have to do is delay that court case for about a day. And they're not playing. Now, probably not going to happen. I'm just saying, in a competitive way, you guys were athletes. If you're on a committee, in a competitive way, wouldn't you like to hammer someone one time and have one win if you're the NCAA versus, since they're all part of the NCAA, every one of these institutions, and it's the NCAA's tournament? I don't think it'll happen. I'm just throwing it out there so your fan base can go, whoa, that doesn't make sense. But it does if you two and I, we're on a committee, and you have been hammered, you'd go, hey, let's us have one win. But don't think it'll happen. Not going to happen. And I think Alabama will play well in this tournament.
I got it, but what does hammering look like, I guess? Like, I mean, how penal does their seeding look? Like, what does that look like?
How about if they don't get in the tournament? Would that be hammering them?
I would say that's hammering them.
If they don't let them play in the tournament. Yeah, that's what I mean. If they don't let them play, and they'd say, well, you can't do that. Well, yeah, we can't. Well, there's a rule. Bediako should not have played. You got to be honest about that. There's a rule about going in the draft, getting drafted. That's a rule. And you can go back to Nate Oates saying, okay, all these international players. Well, whatever the rules are, there was a rule that Bediako should not play. And in order to get around that, you have a court, right? You take it to a judge. Local judge says let him play, plays a few games. Another judge says you can't. It's a simple rule. But like I said, if you're the NCAA and you said, this is our tournament, you can't play. I think that'd send a message. It'd send a message to college athletics. Just enough.
Potentially. John, we appreciate
now, again, I'm not on the committee, so
no, of course.
Don't hammer me for that. But
no, it's an interesting thought.
It could be interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I had one other question about this tournament. With their win last night, they looked semi-impressive against a team that's just not good. What is Oklahoma? I feel like they're the most Jekyll and Hyde team in the league this year. I just don't know what they are as a team right now, specifically in this SEC tournament.
Actually, they're I can't say really good. They're a good team that has had a hard time finishing games. I had them early in the SEC season. They won the game I did, and then they lost 9 in a row. And every one of those 9 games they could have won. They're good enough to win a few games. Like, they're good enough to beat A&M and Arkansas. They're that good. They just haven't finished games. Now they've won 5 of 6 or 6 of 7. Here's the tough part. They play A&M. They've lost A&M twice, and A&M has had their way with them. I did the A&M at Oklahoma game just a couple weeks ago. It wasn't a good matchup for Oklahoma. Now, can they switch that? Can something change? You've been beaten twice. Hard to beat someone 3 times, maybe. But Oklahoma is a very talented team. And for some reason, in the last 3 weeks, have found ways now how to win versus for 2 or 3 weeks they couldn't win a game, even when they led, standing on a free throw line or having an open shot, or they lost every which way you could. But good enough to actually, if they could beat A&M and beat Arkansas, I mean, all of a sudden they played their way into the tournament. So good, they are. They're actually way better than their record. And of all the teams on the bottom end of the draw, they're probably the most talented. So not that bad.
We appreciate the time today, John. Great stuff. Appreciate your help breaking down this SEC tournament. Always good to hear from you, and hope we can do it again soon.
Guys, have a great day, and I'll think about that album. What was it? Album for 48 hours?
48 straight hours. Same album on repeat.
What's the first one that comes to mind?
Okay, I'm an old guy. Let me give you an old one because you guys are all young. I'm just going to give you an old one top of my head, okay? The Doobie Brothers. The album is The Captain and Me. Look it up, play it, and you go, holy smokes, that's pretty good.
Okay, there
That's
you go.
From way, way, way back.
I'll hit that on Apple Music today.
Have a great day.
Were you getting that in the? Were you allowed to play that in NBA locker rooms?
that was probably when I was probably grade school, junior high. But I had 3 older brothers, so that one stuck.
They introduced it to you.
But no, that wouldn't have been in many. Hey, that wouldn't have been in any of my NBA locker rooms. That one wouldn't have. It wouldn't have been.
Didn't make the cut.
Been in my headphone. I'm trying to think what we had back then. You know, my cassette. We had the cassette player, maybe whatever those were. Walkmans. Maybe we had a Walkman back then. That would have been in
there
my
you
Walkman.
Go. Sonny, great stuff, man.
I don't even know what that is.
I know what a Walkman is. I had a disc.
Hey, you guys be good.
Take care. John Sunvold joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline, talking SEC basketball tournament, one of the best. Always appreciate his insight. We'll discuss it a little bit more. We still have Dane Bradshaw coming up in about 12 minutes to talk more SEC basketball tournament. We'll continue the conversations right after this on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Dane Bradshaw in 9 minutes. He was on call for half of the games in the SEC tournament yesterday. He'll be on the call for games today. We'll get his thoughts on some of what's going on at the SEC tournament and then just some college basketball in general. After Auburn's win last night, Stephen Pearl discussing rebounding being a big part of why the Tigers are able to get the win.
Yeah, he started off the game a little slow and a little hesitant, and, he did a really good job of responding. I thought he was good in the second half, 10 rebounds, 3 big offensive rebounds, and 7 defensive rebounds. That's what he's capable of. He's such a great athlete, and he does a great job of, high pointing the ball and going and getting those rebounds. And, I just told him, listen, great job. You did it against Mississippi State. I need you to go do that tomorrow against, the toughest rebounding team in college basketball in Tennessee. So he accepted the challenge, and we'll see. But he did a great job of responding. He got off to a slow start. I thought he did a good job bouncing back.
Tennessee 6.5-point favorite. GMAC, how do you feel about Auburn's chances in this one today?
I think it'll be a very tough game. I think Tennessee is a handful. Got a ton of respect for how they've been built. Them in a tournament setting, how they can junk it up and be physical. It's always going to be tough to play against Tennessee.
Tennessee looking to reach the SEC tournament quarterfinal for the 8th straight season. 10-4 versus Auburn in the SEC tournament all time. Tennessee leads Division I, as you just heard it, in offensive rebounding percentage. Over 45% of the boards on offense go Tennessee's way. Second in second chance points per game. 16.6 second chance points per game for Tennessee. So you think kind of what we heard John Sunvold talking about, and that was offensively they can run into some hurdles. They can hit some lulls. If Auburn can find a way to sort of force that, and then maybe Tennessee hits a few more on their own, but then the flip side of that, Greg, is you got to find points if you're Auburn. And is Kevin Overton going to get hot again? Can he keep it going? 20 points in 3 straight for him. That's the longest streak of his career. Do you go in trying to ride that? Do you try to draw more up for him? Thinking, all right, if this is our hot hand right now, let's see if we can take advantage of that and try to continue to keep that going. Like you said, not going to be easy for Auburn, but it does feel like maybe compared to going into yesterday, there's a door or window that's just a little bit more open than there was at the beginning of this SEC tournament.
Yeah, I think yesterday was a good day. I think it's a good day to feel confident. It's a good day to build on. So I think there's some reason to believe, looking at yesterday more so than perhaps some of the other days that we've seen them play basketball in the last 2 months.
Yeah. And I appreciate Stephen Pearl challenging the team, him saying that certain individuals taking those challenges, and we'll see what that leads to. So game day for Auburn basketball again today. Everyday game day for you. And if you're not feeling your best, if you're lacking sleep, lacking energy, feeling on edge, Game Day Men's Health wants to help you get in your best game day shape. Here's what you're going to do. GameDayMen'sHealth.com, sign up for the free consultation. You'll go in, get the free PSA test, free testosterone test. They'll let you know where your baseline health is. Right then, right there, they're going to do that. And then once that happens, they give you their options, whether that is the peptides that they have in stock, weight loss programs. Game Day Men's Health wants to get you back to feeling your best and being your best self. Save 10% on any service they offer at Game Day Men's Health when you mention Mac and Cube when you walk in the front door. Get all the facts at GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Holistic approach to health and wellness, minimal upfront costs in the programs they offer. They have helped numerous Jocks listeners get back to feeling great. Book your free consultation today at GameDayMen'sHealth.com. All right, so when you think Auburn in the SEC tournament today, we've run through that. Next game that would maybe have the most intrigue for you on the docket today in the SEC tournament, GMAC?
Auburn, Tennessee is kind of in a league of its own for me. But if I were to go one step further, that Missouri-Kentucky game's interesting. And
I think probably Oklahoma A&M for me, just because, well, like what John Sunvold just said, he thinks Oklahoma's actually a really good basketball team. We know A&M has been a great team at times this year. I just think, too, the rest for A&M, if it pays big dividends, could they be a different tournament team in this setting than maybe some people thought they were going to be coming in? So that'll probably be next up for me, just because I think both those teams have the potential to be really good in this tournament, and both have had some letdown moments in the last couple of weeks. So
Sure.
you don't know exactly. Plus that late game, what's that thing going to start after 9 o'clock? You don't really know sitting around who's going to feel good, who that's going to help, who's maybe going to get antsy and have the yips. I don't know. But that would probably be the next one for me after Auburn, Tennessee.
Yeah, I can get on board with that. I don't think you can really go wrong. 3 of the 4 really intrigue me. The one that doesn't as much is Ole Miss, Georgia, but it intrigues me for different reasons. Winner plays Bama. So really no reason not to watch every game today.
No, I think you're right. It'll be another great day of college basketball, and we will discuss it with Dane Bradshaw of the SEC Network next on Jocks. Thursday, March 12th, 8:30, right here on Jocks. JocksFM.com apps in your app store. Tell your home smart speaker to enable the Jock skill. Talking SEC tournament with Dane Bradshaw on the Higginbotham Hotline here in just a moment. We know these teams chasing an SEC tournament championship ring. If you're chasing rings, GMAC, Bromberg's the place you need to go.
Yeah, they've been in business and serving this community for 190 years. It's amazing just what the experience is like when you walk in the door at either the Mountain Brook Village store or at the Summit. They just take great care of you. They always point you in the right direction. They always give you great options. They always have high-end pieces, too, that will last multiple generations. That's why it's the only place I would shop if I were in the market for some jewelry. And now is the time that many people are in wedding season, planning their weddings for the summer months to come. Well, set up your registry at Bromberg's. Work one-on-one with the Bromberg's experienced bridal consultant. You can set that up by going to brombergsbride.com or visiting them at one of their stores. They'll help you to select everything you need. Plus, enjoy 20% off wedding bands and special pricing on wedding party gifts. Like I said, brombergsbride.com or go in store to Mountain Brook or at the Summit.
Going to the Higginbotham hotline, Dane Bradshaw on call for half of the SEC tournament yesterday. Will be on call for games today. Why is your opinion maybe different of Auburn with what they could be capable of today than it was going into yesterday after what you saw?
Well, anytime you get a win, I think they're feeling a little bit better. I also think what you're seeing is Kevin Overton playing with the most confidence he's had all season. He's solidified himself as a reliable third scorer that can also take on the leading role if things aren't rolling for Keyshawn Hall. Todd Pettiford obviously playing extremely well. And I think the other part too, when I look at Keyshawn Hall, like he hadn't got it going in a while offensively. So you just wonder when's that, ordinary Hall going to come out where he gets that 20-point performance. But I do think the positives have been, even though he's not a great defender, and I've mentioned that before, him being on the court does occupy a key defender for the other team. And I think that's where you get some of the benefit of Pettiford getting off, Overton getting off, and opening up some things for others. And they've made no secrets about it. I appreciate Stephen Pearl's transparency in terms of, hey, we got punked on the glass against Tennessee. It's going to take more than mindset, though, to just come in there and be like, hey, we got to get them back. It's going to have to take some discipline, execution in terms of literally getting low on your box out, old school style. And when that shot goes in the air, if you're staring at the ball and trying to go get it, you're done for. You better find a body, go hit first, then go get the rebound. And that's going to be the key to the game. First shot defense isn't the problem when you play Tennessee. It's can you finish the possession.
When you watch Tennessee, for example, and we know they're super physical, it feels like in settings like this, whether it's Tennessee under Rick Barnes or under Boeheim, how Syracuse approached it, teams that just bloody your nose are brutal in one-and-done settings. Win or go home settings. I don't know why that is. So what is it about their style that makes them so difficult to play in a setting like this?
Yeah, I think it's because so many teams can struggle at times shooting in a new environment when you're in the SEC tournament. That can be up and down for different teams. But with Tennessee, they don't have to rely on great shooting. They can have their offensive scoring droughts and still stay in the game. Like if they have, you can look up and be like, as an opponent, hey, we've held Tennessee without a field goal for 4 straight minutes, and we're on a 2-0 run. Like they got great defense. They know how to rebound the ball, and Tennessee's not a team that you go into and you're as an opponent you're thinking, man, we got to go through every single play call. Who knows what they're going to run at us? You typically know what you're going to get on both ends of the ball, and it is a little bit of an old school approach of, hey, they know what we're going to do. That's okay. It's still going to work as long as we execute our plan, and the coaching staff believes in it, and so do the players.
Dane Bradshaw joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline talking SEC tournament. With what's left, what is at the top of the list of maybe most important aspect that wins this tournament? I feel like the easy answer is just size management because of what Florida offers in the front court. What's the most important attribute a team's going to have to win to actually get this SEC tournament victory? Maybe that's a question for teams not named Florida, now that I think about it.
Yeah, I do think even though those teams that with the double bye, certainly the easier path, fatigue won't be quite as big of a factor. But I think depth is critical in these. I mean, you're not getting the day off after a game the way you are the NCAA tournament. These are consecutive games. And so one could be the depth. But I also think while Florida's not an extremely deep team, their margin of victory is pretty high. So when you're beating teams by double digits, sometimes you get your guys a little bit extra rest that you might not ordinarily do. But I think depth is a huge factor going back to Tennessee. I think they're the one team, even though they got smacked by Florida earlier in the year, I think they're the one team that matches up okay with Florida because of the bigs that they have. But the offensive firepower, a team I tell you that nobody's talking about enough is Georgia. They have their weaknesses defensively, but in the last 5 games, they're the number 1 offense in the country in just about every category. And if they had an Alabama jersey on, everybody'd be talking about, I can't believe how explosive this Alabama offense is yet again. But because we had been accustomed to seeing Mike White's teams be this explosive really since his Louisiana Tech days. It's an acquired taste, but if you look at it, you're like, you know what? There's only one team that's been able to truly run with Arkansas. That was Georgia. Only one team that's been able to truly run with Alabama. That's Georgia. And so I'm anxious to see how they perform because they're very much an under the radar team.
What I think we all kind of saw the potential when Alabama went there, but I kind of chalked that up more to Alabama just not being at their best defensively that night after running a gauntlet. So are we maybe putting too much on Alabama, maybe having an off night, or is it more about how good Georgia might actually be?
No, I think it's more about Georgia. I think Georgia has shown that they can run with those teams, and Alabama, I do think that was a wake-up call for Alabama, rebounding-wise, defensively, that they don't have to be great, but they do have to be at least average. And they showed that last time they went against Auburn. But is it sustainable? That's the question. Can Alabama put together back-to-back high-effort games on the rebounding end and defensively? I think they're 16-1 now when they win the rebound margin. And Nate Oates has said, hey, we don't have to always win it, but we do have to avoid just getting crushed on the glass. And so that's the big thing for them.
Are you like walking by in the tunnel on the way to practice right now?
I'm trying to multitask for you. I'm doing my best.
What practice are you heading to?
We're going to we've got Arkansas and then Alabama after that.
Okay. All right. What's the key for Alabama today?
Well, Alabama's still got the bye, so they'll
tomorrow. Sorry, I meant tomorrow. My bad.
Yeah, their Alabama's opportunity is just, like I said, defensively. But I mean, right now they've got two of the best guards in the conference in that backcourt, and the teams are having a tough time staying in front of them, trying to figure out how do we contain penetration, and then how do we not help off shooters, but still not leave guys on an island where they're getting crushed.
There you go. Dane, great stuff, man. Go get to practice. We appreciate a little bit of time. Enjoyed the calls yesterday, and we'll be watching today.
All right. Thanks, guys.
There you go. Dane Bradshaw heading to practice right now, walking through the tunnels of Bridgestone Arena.
It did sound like he was whispering.
Getting set. He didn't want anybody to know what he was doing.
Love that. Talking to these guys.
Getting the X's and O's.
Getting dialed in.
Who's getting minutes?
Imagine doing that, then having
Who's
to listen
ready?
to Florida Georgia Line because that's part of your 48 hours.
Ooh, no. We should have asked Dane what his album would be. I don't know what I would even guess.
Literally, that could be anything.
Travis Tritt.
He feels like a John Cicada guy.
John Cicada.
Maybe,
no,
yeah.
We have one of those here.
Oh, yeah, but
Literally no idea. Because you never know. You never know. Like a guy like Dane, you would think like some type of frat house country, but he might go Jay-Z. You just never know. Never know.
I'm trying to see what time that practice started here. Well, it's at 8:40, so we don't want to do it now.
he's 41. He could be Travis Tritt or Travis Scott. You don't know.
So you think it's a Travis?
It's a fine line.
Interesting. Okay. We'll take your calls on it. 800-239-9569. You want to get in. You can also text into the show 205-834-9450. If you had to listen to an album for $1 million for a week straight, one album, which would it be? We had that conversation earlier in the show. Wimp Sanderson still coming up at 9. We'll talk more SEC basketball tournament and albums next on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. 800-239-9569, 800-239-WJOX if you'd like to get in. Greg, tell our listeners about Crocker Moving Services.
Well, they're a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys, and you can trust them in your home. Whether you need your whole home packed up and moved, your company headquarters moved across the country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room, they got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you purchased and need to get to your home. So call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website's CrockerMovingServices.com. That's CrockerMovingServices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Services for your next move.
Josh Otwell says, all eyes on me, Tupac, which is actually not a bad choice at all.
Good one.
Because you do have some... You have some slower songs.
I'm about to say, is Brenda's Got a Baby on that? I feel like there's like a couple.
How Do You Want a California Love on there? Ambitions as a Rider.
Yeah.
It's a good album.
Good one. Not bad.
That was a double album, right?
That's why I think you got to go with this.
There's some double albums that weren't great.
Well, true, yes, but you go on that.
Picture Me Rolling.
Like Casey JoJo, How Do You Want It?
I mean, it was there.
Yeah.
They're better albums, but it's a good one. It's really good. It's not a bad choice. So, Damien, have you changed your mind yet?
No, not at all. I stand by it. 100%.
Uncle Rico's dad says bloom after fall, moving forward. I don't even know what that is. Is that the name of a flower shop, or is that an album we're supposed to listen to? I don't know the difference.
Not familiar.
Hadn't heard the tape. Albie61 says Pearl Jam 10. I would go Vitology, but John, which one would you go with?
I'd probably lean 10. Their first four, like right out the gate, their first five are just phenomenal. With Black, Even Flow, like just boom, 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 one right after the other. Then the back half of the album, I think, kind of wanes.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the first half more than outweighs the back half.
We haven't listened to them this way, but when do you think we're talking about early 90s, early 2000s albums? I guess Greg brought up one from Katy Perry that would have been like later 2000,
like
2010s
ish, yeah.
Like how many 2010 albums do you think the whole album was good?
Oh,
Anything Goes, Florida Georgia Line.
Okay, you're dismissed.
Doesn't mean you can't listen all the way through, but are you truly going to enjoy?
Correct.
At
every
that point,
song?
they stopped making for album. They started making for singles.
Yeah.
They had to go
Spotify.
find songs to jam
Yeah.
into an album.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, you have 4. We need to come up with at least 6 more.
It's like we need to maximize our listenership on one specific song. So put it out, who cares? We need Spotify to get rolling for our monthly download listeners. Like that's where
can you imagine the conversations with Soulja Boy? They're like, all right, we need 16 more.
Nah.
We feel good about the one, but can you get us 11 more? I got nothing. Remix, instrumental. Okay, that's 2.
Perfect.
Club mix.
Club mix.
Extended mix.
Havana mix. We can
12-inch
bring in
single mix.
Pitbull
Okay,
to feature on that one.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, so you're riding dirty. What else you got?
This is not a ton. I don't feel like not a lot of just albums, kind of top to bottom. Syrup Over Everything says Graceland, Paul Simon. I hadn't heard the tape on that one in a while, or maybe ever. Syrup or syrup?
Syrup. I'm not from Canada.
It's a literal coin flip for me.
Yeah,
It just
yeah.
goes. I don't know
I had
why.
to think about it. Yeah.
I don't know why certain ones go one direction or the other. Royal Payne says, I think I'd get sick of an album for a week no matter what, no matter how much I liked it. Kind of goofy, but I'd probably go with a film score like Braveheart or Gladiator, what John said earlier.
Yeah.
Still say Terminator 2 better than all of them. Jurassic Park up there?
Yeah, it's John Williams. Anything
Good
by
music.
him would be worth it.
Okay.
Parts of the Caribbean.
The Lion King.
I actually do think there'd be
Does
some
that.
movie soundtracks that would be in the mix for me.
Oh. Well, like John,
Lion King would be one of them.
But like
sure.
movie score and soundtrack's different. Like
Correct, right.
Like John said, there was a time where movie soundtracks were basically just a greatest hits collection.
Just throwing in songs that, yeah.
Another one, like you had said show tunes earlier, and I hadn't really gone down that path. But if you listen to, like, for example, Phantom of the Opera, you almost listen to the play, and it's like 3 hours long.
If you do like, Les Mis, that's the whole.
Yeah, they literally sing the whole show.
Right, yeah.
So
I could do that.
That would actually not be a terrible approach. Now, some of the musicals, if you will, they don't sing everything, so you'd miss a lot. But I could listen to Hamilton for 48 straight hours for sure.
Not bad.
I mean, they literally sing the whole show. So yeah, there'd be a few of those. Like, you joked about it, but that might be the best way.
No. Russell Terry tweets in,
they say we got haters.
The key to the drill would be something relaxing, which I do agree with. Now, I would probably go with Widespread Panic's Live from Athens 98. Okay.
Oh, God.
Now, I think what you're misconstruing is that the relaxation came from the music and not the chemical enhancement.
Correct.
So,
what do we say about Widespread?
Be careful.
I don't know. What do we say?
I don't know.
He's your boss. Be careful.
I like Widespread.
Okay.
Name one song.
Don't need to name them. They don't have songs. They just jam. I am not a Widespread, like, obsessed person by any stretch. I don't mind listening to them. I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, let's put on Widespread tonight. Like, if it's on, I enjoy it. I just wouldn't necessarily take myself there. So I don't mind it. But I do think those that are obsessed and see it like, if they're in town, we got to go to Widespread. We got to go to Widespread. Widespread's in town. Got to go.
Let me just tell you.
I think it's a dangerous game. Slippery slope.
Let me lay this out for you guys, and I think you're going to be 100% on board here. You may be a little bit too young. John,
here we go.
And if Ryan Haney were in here, would agree with this 1,000%.
Deadheads.
Pat Smith, Landrum Roberts would agree with this 1,000% if they were here.
Yes.
Hear me out, John. This is mainly for you.
Oh, boy.
Widespread in the mid to late 90s.
Okay.
How they acted, what they said about it, how they treated it. Those are Masters people now. It's the same person. They grew up, Widespread people grew up, and now the Masters is their Widespread.
Yeah.
It's the exact same person.
But Widespread doesn't leave you.
Build your weekend around it.
Yeah.
Grilled cheese for hugs is now pimento cheese. That's all it is. It's the same damn thing.
Wow.
I get it.
Oh, think about this. Because it's not so much the golf, it's the what?
Experience.
It's the course.
Correct, yeah.
It's not just the band, it's where they're playing. Like, Huntsville has this new acoustical by the river. You just can't even imagine how it sounds. As the guitar waves hit you.
Isn't Fish or someone?
It's the same person.
Fish or Widespread. Someone's doing it in the Sphere. So, yeah, got to go see that.
The bass just forces your heart to beat at a different level.
There's about 8 bands.
Look at the greens, how they're manicured.
There's about 8 bands.
It's just a different green manicured a different way.
Yeah, well.
But there's about 8
One
bands
was inhaled, one is now viewed. You are the same person.
The gift shop's still expensive, either way. Merchandise is expensive.
But you can get really cheap food.
Not true, yeah.
One you just have to get in the parking lot, the other you get in the stands. Widespread guy is now Masters guy. He grew up, and it's the exact same thing.
Well, some of them stayed Widespread
Some
guys.
might be both, and you can still do both. But they treat it exactly the same way.
It's a fair comparison, but you can't exclusively put it on Widespread by themselves.
Right,
it's
Fish,
Widespread,
there's other jam
Fish,
bands. Right, yeah.
Dave Matthews, like any of these 90s bands.
Yeah, they're the offshoots who you try to make it as cool, just like TPC Sawgrass, Pebble Beach Pro-Am, British Open. That British Open is Fish.
That's the build-up.
U.S. Open is Grateful Dead.
It's the opening act.
There you go.
Huh.
Like British Open is like so old, it's just going to be around, like Grateful Dead.
Yeah,
There's always
sure.
going to be there. They may change course, the bridge may collapse, the lead singer may die. They're still going to be there.
So what's like the waste management thing? What's
Waste management is
the guy with the afro that sings "I'm sexy and I know it." Whatever. He's that guy.
no, come on. What?
I would have never.
That's the most random. That's the most
It's just
random.
the letters. What are they called?
LMFAO.
LMFAO. That's who that is. They're trying to be a newcomer to the party.
God almighty.
I don't know.
The vibe's the same though. Nothing but partying.
But there
it's
are
dancing.
there are
Yeah.
umbrella tents.
It's
to
all
these,
stupidity.
So
It's
that's
all
these
live
just-
golf.
genres.
That's live golf then.
It's
Because they listen to music.
Yeah,
while
that
they
does
play.
feel live-ish.
live golf is like T-Pain. It's just all orchestrated.
It's a
It's not
party.
even real.
T-Pain can sing though.
Yeah,
There's a problem.
he just
not
chose
fair.
to do
Don't
auto-tune.
say that.
No, he
He
can.
can. He absolutely
He can.
No, I don't believe
He
it.
just, oh man, he can. He just chose to do auto tune because that's what all the rappers are doing.
Butch Worley says Jason Isbell Southeastern. But he also says I could listen to any album for $1 million for a week.
For sure.
I kind of agree with that.
Totally.
That's why we said kind of in the break. Maybe instead of one album, it's one song.
But also, if you take this to, you have to go through your week regularly.
Yeah.
So if you have a Zoom call, this has to be on.
Yes.
If you have
So you
to
get
do
judged.
a radio show, this is on.
You get
somehow, some way.
judged.
Correct.
So what are you going with, like Stairway to Heaven? If you had one song.
Is that an album
By
or a
the
song?
OJs?
Oh,
Song.
one song?
Song. You need a long song.
Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Mine's probably Hotel California Eagles. I think I get through the 48 hours pretty quickly with that on repeat.
Mm.
I would get tired of it though and probably wouldn't listen to it ever again, which would be disappointing.
But worth $1 million.
Yeah.
But I'm rich.
Yeah.
Facts.
I'll be miserable and I will no longer listen to Hotel California. But guess what? I'm breaded. It's worth it.
Probably track 2, Death Certificate, Ice Cube. I can't say it on the air.
Oh goodness. So bad.
All right, just get you,
I mean,
get you going.
Get you going.
You would get excused from every Zoom call. And you
Excuse me,
couldn't.
Mr.
You
Cubelic.
couldn't be on the air. The FCC wouldn't allow it.
Excuse me, Mr. Cubelic. Could you step away?
Yes. No, you just have to listen with the AirPods in.
Michael McDaniel says at Cole Cubic, 80% correct on widespread panic Masters guy. Other 20% still holding on, traveling from town to town, slinging grilled cheeses in the lot. It's a lot of hugs.
Yeah.
Still?
You're just admitting that you like to partake in some extracurriculars. It's fine.
There's always those hangers honors.
Yeah. 40-year-old frat dude. There's a lot of them.
Wow.
There's a lot. I aspire to be it.
Jamie Bailey, I'm a classic rock guy. Fleetwood Mac Rumors or Kiss Alive 2. Is there a Kiss Alive 1?
Sure.
Unfamiliar.
Yeah.
Is Kiss overrated?
Yes. Completely.
I'm
Greg said that,
I'm
not
going to stay
me.
out of this one.
They are.
I'm going to mind my business.
No.
I just don't know. I don't think they have as many hits as people.
No.
I think their aura makes them bigger
if
than
they
they,
got
were.
a loud
their
fan-
faces.
They got a
It's
loud
Texas
fan
A&M.
base, I'll tell
If they
you
didn't
that.
paint their faces and dress up the way
They're
they
Texas
did,
A&M.
they would not at all be held in the same regard as they are.
They
It's
got-
good marketing.
I'll say
Texas
this: they got a
A&M.
lot of checks, though.
Yes.
So they're A&M.
They ain't hurting.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 9 o'clock hour. Hour number 3 underway Thursday, March the 12th. Wayne Johnson tweets in, love the players' updates. Thanks.
See?
Do you have another? Or
No, I haven't really been paying attention.
Thorber Jorgensen's on 17.
It's Thor
100.
Bjornsson.
Same thing.
Not Thor, but Jorgensen.
Mortimer George
Got to.
with the high school.
Him as well. Jolly tweets in, G-Mac goes ham over golf. His heart rate's probably 100 at this moment.
No, my heart rate, you know that, 38 the other day. Google says I'm dying.
He also
Luke
said,
says I'm
I listened
thriving."
to at Cole Cubic. I listened to hear at Cole Cubic harass said excitement.
So
There you go.
unfortunate.
You get all. You get all.
So unfortunate. He's such an elitist, anti-golf man.
Jamie Bailey says, Greg's dead to me. Yes, there was a Kiss Alive 1. Would have to be a Kiss fan to appreciate their music. I
well,
get that.
not.
Why are you going further with that?
Love Jamie Bailey. See him every year at the kickoff party. I got no time for Kiss. They're one of rock's most overrated bands.
Todd Wisenhunt says Led Zeppelin Physical Graffiti.
If you're that
album.
good, you don't rely on stage theatrics. I'm sorry. Just a thought.
But maybe the stage theatrics are part of why they're good.
Cool. If you're good, you can just sit up there with a guitar and rip.
Tommy Wyndham says Eagles' greatest hits, a Dead live show, or Fleetwood.
It's eclectic.
But we said no greatest hits. It's not allowed.
No, he didn't. Yeah, that's cheating.
Just like Tripp says Boogie Nights soundtrack. Again, that's just like a greatest hits album. All right, let's go to the coach, Wim Sanderson, who's with us each and every week at this time, thanks to our friends at Coke and Piggly Wiggly.
The audience is not interested in y'all's health, nor is the audience interested in singers.
Well, no,
Good morning.
it's actually albums, and we were asking if you had to listen to one album for 1 week
I don't
nonstop,
know.
which would it be? For you, would it be Sinatra? A
Yeah,
Sinatra
yeah.
album?
Probably Sinatra. Yeah, do it my way.
Sinatra does a good job.
Oh, he does. He's
Good
very
pipes.
Yeah, I got to see him that one time. I told you I got to see him in person. So big deal. That was a big deal. Anyway,
Was the entire Rat Pack overrated? Were they just carried by Sinatra?
no, the Rat Pack was pretty good. You know, they had a lot of good-looking ladies with them, and they did good. They were pretty good.
Well, I just meant as making music. Like,
Was
Oh, I
Sinatra
don't know.
handsome?
They was making something. I don't know all of his music, but they were pretty good. Yeah.
Was Sinatra a handsome man, or was it just his voice?
I think his voice.
Hmm.
I told you the story of me getting in there. I've told it before. I heard Elvis at 6, and I wanted to go hear Sinatra. And I called my buddy, who was the I'll tell it again, because some people, who was the coach at UNLV, and we were in Vegas, and he said, "Well, go get an invited guest line." I said, "Okay, I'll go get an invited guest line." So I went and got an invited guest line. I'm getting closer and closer to the guy with a tuxedo on and a big pad marking people that are going in, and I can't decide who I'm going to be. I could not be Coach Bryant because Coach Bryant was out there, a lot bigger than I was. They all knew Coach Bryant. I didn't really know who I needed to be. For some stupid reason, I guess as young as you guys are, I decided I was going to be John David Crow, who won the Heisman Trophy for Coach Bryant at Texas A&M. And I don't know why I decided that, but I did. I knew John David real well. He's passed away now. He was a great player. I decided I was going to be John David Crow. So I get to the guy, and I'm nervous. I got another coach with me. And I said, "John Crow, sir." And he had his slate there, and he flipped it over. He looked down it. He looked up at me. He said, "Go in, Mr. Crow." I almost fainted. And so I told the guys with, I said, "Tip this guy, put us up there as close as he can." And so we got there, and Frank came out with a cigarette in his mouth and sat in the chair, and he sang "My Way" and New York, New York. And I was one of the few guys that's ever been on this show who heard Elvis at 6 and Frank Sinatra at midnight.
The coach, Wim Sanderson, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. What did you learn from the SEC tournament yesterday that you felt like maybe you didn't completely know or weren't fully confident in?
You could beat somebody and not make any threes. Ole Miss was one for 10 and beat a good Texas team. So that I learned that on that particular game. That was a surprise, really. That was a surprise of Kentucky played a team that was near the bottom and hung on the best they could because they don't guard anybody much and not playing where they need to be playing. I thought Auburn came in and they did a good job. They held the guy that was a big scorer for Mississippi State to 22, and they had 3 guys who scored double figures. So Auburn now gets to play Tennessee. We'll see what happens there. Kentucky, if they go forward and beat Missouri, they will get to play the number 1 team in Florida. So it's very, very interesting. If Tennessee were to beat Auburn, I don't know that they will, but if they were to beat Auburn, they would be playing Vanderbilt. My point in saying that is the Kentucky, Florida, Vanderbilt, Tennessee games you see are big rivals, been rivals for a long time and continue to be rivals. As far as the situation is concerned of whether Auburn should get in, everything in this world has changed in collegiate sports. When I was coaching, and I have to go back to that because I'm older than dirt, and that's the way it goes. We would hope to get 2 or 3 teams in the NCAA tournament, and not bragging, but trying to tell the story. We got in 10 out of 12 years, and we were good. And so you fight like a dick. I have no answer as to whether Auburn will get it or not. The pluses for Auburn, the minuses for Auburn is they're 5th from the bottom with a 7-11 record in the SEC. That would never happen when I was there, but that's okay. That doesn't mean anything. The teams around Auburn who are surrounding Auburn to try to get in are all losing, which helps Auburn. The other factor that's a plus for Auburn is that they've beaten St. John's and they've beaten Florida. So that's 2 big pluses. Now, whether they'll get in or not get in, I have no idea. My job's not to name that. The selection committee will try to do that, and there'll be a lot of fussing and fighting about whether who should get in. But you buy players now. You didn't buy them like that when I was coaching. You transfer rule. You transferred one time 5 years to play 4. That kind of thing. You wouldn't get in with a 7-11 record at Auburn, but Auburn's got some pluses. So there's back and forth in this little interview is, I'm telling you, some good and some bad for Auburn. Should the team that gets in with a 30-0 record with a bad schedule get in? Sure they should get in, because there will be some teams, and I don't care what Bruce says, there will be some teams that will get in out of the conferences that are not good either. There are some not good teams get in. That's just the way it goes sometimes. So how many of the SEC will get in? I'll give you 9, 10, or 11. I would say 10, maybe 11 teams will get in the NCAA tournament. We'll know on Sunday. So I've given you a lot of information here. I don't know if you want to ask me anything, but I've told you some good and bad about Auburn, whether they get in or don't get in. They would have skipped over you at 7 and 11 if when I was coaching. That don't mean jack crap, because when I was coaching, a lot of things are different. So we live at a period of time in basketball and football and athletics that all things are different. The president has a meeting with all those people the other day to try to decide about things. Half the people in there were the cause of it. they're the reason for it. And when we hear the situation, I'm switching to something else now. When we get the agents straightened out a little bit better, we've got a better chance to have better athletics, I think. I've yacked enough. What else? Anything else?
I did want to ask you, Coach, we've discussed who we think wins this tournament, the odds, who we would pick. The fact that Florida may not need this to end up on the 1 line to actually win the tournament. Can you just take us through that mentality as a coach of having a pretty good idea of what your seating is going to be no matter what happens, how you handle it? Do you manage your minutes differently? Just explain that for us.
You do not manage your minutes different. You're trying to get a number one seed in the NCAA. You want to win the tournament. When I was coaching, when I say this stuff, it sounds like I'm over here bragging. I don't mean to be. I'm trying to answer your question. My guy, we won the tournament 5 out of my 12 years. We won it 3 times in a row. When we won it the first time, they came out and said the champion of the SEC is Alabama. They didn't say the champion of the round robin. The team that won the tournament was the champion of the SEC, and they get a ring. All kids want rings. And so what happens to you is, guess what, y'all? Tomorrow is spring break. There are some of the kids that are on these teams that don't care whether they win or lose because they're fixing to go to Florida with a girlfriend. And so what you have to do is mental is to physical, what 3 is to 1. Now, I'm giving you a good speech today. That's true. Mental is physical for 3 is to 1. You've got to be ready to play. You've got to want to play. You may play somebody that you have already beaten twice. Now, you really got a job to get them ready. You got to get them. We've beaten them twice. I know they were not any good when we played them. You've got to try to sell your kids on being ready to play. My first speech when I get into the dressing room, my first sentence when I get into the dressing room with my players is this: the championship game is not Sunday afternoon. The championship game is tonight. We are playing in the championship game tonight. And if we win, we are playing in the championship game tomorrow night. Get this through your thick heads. The championship game's tonight. I don't care if we've beaten a team 20 or not. It doesn't make any difference to me. They can come back and beat us if we don't play. So I always like to play somebody that had, that I had a really tough time or even beaten. Alabama will probably play, they'll play the winner of Georgia and Ole Miss. Probably would be Georgia, and Georgia beat Alabama. Well, to me, if I were coaching Alabama, that'd be good for me because I have all kinds of crap to say. Because Georgia plays above the rim, and Georgia beat Alabama. But you've got to be ready to play whether you have beaten that team or hadn't beaten that team. You've got to be ready to play from 1 through 10 or 1 through 15 players because you do not you do have kids on your team who are tired of it. They're playing 5 minutes a game. They want to go to Florida with their girlfriend. They don't really care. And you have to try to overcome that the best you can. Can you always overcome it? Not always. You can't. Can you always say the right things? Not always. But you do everything hey, you two guys are great players at your positions, and your willingness to play hard and your willingness to want to win made you a better player. Now I know you had people surrounding you that made you better. The quarterback had to have good people around him. Offensive line did too. I'm preaching today, I guess, but that's true, and so that's where you win the tournament. Now this day and time, we had 2 and 3 go. We had a 10-team league. Got a 16-team league. You got 10, 11 going to go. Maybe the tournament doesn't mean as much because you're going to go anyway. Back when I was doing it, you might not go because it's just going to pick 2, and Kentucky's pretty good. You have to realize that Alabama has won more games in the SEC over the years next to Kentucky. That the winning is when you think about Alabama, you think about a football school. You think about football, you think about that football complete. I was there with Coach Bryant, had his office, the whole ball of wax, and but you think about football. But Alabama has been very darn good over the year. We've had 21 basketball coaches at Alabama. The guy that's coaching there does a terrific job now, and I like to think that we did, and I like to think the guy before we did. So I guess I've done all the talking today. What else?
I think that's it, Coach. I think you've laid it all out there.
Well, anyway, Piggly Wiggly and
I had one other question. I'm sorry. I had one other question for you.
Good. I'm glad you do. I talk too much. I'm sorry.
There's apparently a complaint going around about an assistant basketball coach who was attending another team's game.
Yeah, Auburn.
Allegedly. Reportedly.
Yeah.
Is just that against the code? And then where do you cross the line on the code? Is it attempting to speak to the
I
player?
think,
Is
yeah,
it?
yeah. That's a good question. I don't. I really think I was asked that on my show today. I don't think I would have done that. I don't think I would have sent somebody. It's too hard. If I am at a smaller school and I work my fanny off and I've gotten a player that's really good, and you come in and you're ready to steal him, and I've worked my fannies off, I don't really want to go and take. I really wouldn't. I don't want to go and take a player away from a team who I think are really good because I got more money. They've done that. They say they've done it. They've gone in and taken a look and tried to scout teams that are below the fours and try to maybe get one of their players. I don't like that idea. I don't know if there's a set rule against it. And
I'm talking about the unspoken rules. Like when does it go away? Is it when he speaks to your players? If he tries to speak to your players, like the accusation was that he was trying to make small talk in warm-ups or something like that. And I'm like, I could see where that's a problem. You can't tell me that a guy going to a game is a problem.
Well, I can tell you that, but you ain't gonna listen.
No, because I'm not going to believe it, and I'm going to tell you you're ridiculous.
Well, for what reason?
Watch basketball.
Let's say you were coaching somebody that's really weak, and a guy comes in there scouting your team, trying to get somebody and take him from you. You like that? No, you wouldn't like it.
No, I'd say, Coach, are you guaranteed none of your players are hitting the portal?
Yeah.
Cool. You can't afford them. We can. Good luck.
Well, I don't think you think that way when you're there. I think you think that way on a radio show, but I don't think you think that. I don't think you think that when you're right in the mix of it. Personally,
no. If he's in there trying to talk to him, I'm 100% on board.
Yeah. But
if you're making the big stink about it because he was there,
well, I'm not making a big stink about it. Period. I don't really know what happened or really have any idea what happened. But so I don't know that I would send somebody there. Maybe I would. I don't think I would. I would send anybody to try to take somebody's. You know, when I was at Little Rock and coached, I was one pass. The guy, the official missed the call on the out of bounds play, and I got beat on the last shot to win the tournament and go to the NCAA. I ain't got over it yet. And so there are things that happen to you that I don't know. I don't know that doesn't answer your question, but anyway, I just think it's more difficult. It's more difficult. Tommy Tuberville's come out with stuff this week, which I think is right. When the president and all those people met, I'm going another direction now. When they all met, there's a whole lot of people in there that's the reason we have all the problems we have. In that meeting with the president, and I'm a president's guy. I like him. I'm glad he works. But there are a lot of people in there that are the cause of it. They're the cause of it. Now, if you're going to play 5 years, to play 5 or just play 5 years, and you can't transfer, the transfer problem is the big problem that we're having. I'm going backwards on everything. Because the money is involved because of the transfer. Because the politician will come saying, okay, you only let them transfer one time. What about you coaches who changed jobs 3 times? And Tommy didn't have an answer for that. And so that's a pretty good thought, I guess. But I'm throwing stuff out there that y'all can talk about and whatever.
Oh, we appreciate it. All right, Coach. We know each and every week you're brought to us by our friends at Coke and Piggly Wiggly.
Well, Coke and Piggly Wiggly, I eat lunch every Thursday with Andy and Stanley at Piggly Wiggly. They're great people. They have great food. They do everything they possibly can to make you happy when you go in there and when you leave. And so it's Piggly. Hey, they're great people. They're hometown people. And Coca-Cola is a great product. And I love Coca-Cola. I've always enjoyed them. They were my first, when I got the job at Alabama after 20 years, they first drink that I advertised for. And guess what? I think you two guys are terrific. So y'all are really good. I ain't trying to brown nose you. Don't really, I ain't trying to say anything that ain't true. You're good, and you bring up good questions. I'll talk to your fans next week.
Thank you, Coach.
See you,
Appreciate
Coach.
it. All right. The coach, Wimp Sanderson, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Thanks to Coke and Piggly Wiggly each and every week. So I kind of asked him the question. I want to follow up on that question with you guys. Kind of how should it be handled? What's right? What's wrong? Even if we're just talking code of ethics here, handshake agreements, understanding between coaches. One thing you need to understand is that flu season is still hanging around and pollen season is absolutely here. Thankfully, we got some rain. Get rid of some of it. Make your home healthier with Train's Clean Effects Home Air Cleaner. Removes up to 99.9% of airborne particles, including those that cause allergy and virus. 100 times more effective than standard air filters. 8 times more effective than HEPA room filters. Find a dealer near you at Train.com. It's hard to stop a train. What should coaches do, not do, as it pertains to watching, speaking to, seeing, being around players and other teams? We'll discuss that next right here on Jocks.
Welcome back, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 924. Here, continuing to move along. There's a lot of things to look forward to today. The SEC tournament continues on. I love when basketball starts as early as it does. First game getting tipped off. Kentucky-Mizzou might be the game of the day. That game will get going at 11:30 a.m. on SEC Network. Right now, Kentucky a 2.5-point favorite. The Auburn Tigers will follow 30 minutes after that one. They'll take on Tennessee, and Tennessee now down to 5.5, Cole, down from 6.5. So things trending in the right direction for the Auburn Tigers.
You feel good about Auburn's chances today?
No.
Great.
Do you?
I feel better today than I did yesterday. But it's going to be tough sledding. Going to be tough sledding. So I'm trying to work on some audio from an interview that was aired, and I don't have it yet to pass on to John, that we could actually hear some of the back and forth about what we're going to reference here in just a moment.
Yeah.
But I have not been able to gain access to that just yet. Grant Leonard is the head coach at Queens. They are heading to the NCAA tournament. Queens University is in Charlotte. And when the Field of 68 had Brian Hodgson, South Florida head coach, on one of their shows, he said, any of these clowns think they're going to reach out before the season ends and start sending DMs, I'll find you. I'm not like the rest of these coaches. We'll have a face-to-face conversation. Grant Leonard quoted that via Twitter and said, we had an SEC assistant buy a courtside seat for one of our conference tournament games to, quote, get ahead of recruiting one of my kids. Actually said on of my kids, but it's okay. We don't need to be grammar monitor here. So there's been some back and forth of actually having a conversation, just attending. He would actually continue to go back and forth with this, with some folks on Twitter about it. And he said, go watch the film, our conference tournament game against UWG. He's courtside, plain as day to see. One Twitter user says, are you against players getting paid their market value? If you can't afford them and don't want a discount sticking with your team, what's the issue? He said, you don't know anything about me or our program. We help our guys better their situations. There's still a process to this. There might be a right way and a wrong way to do things. So we don't know all the details, even from what he were to say via audio or via social media. We don't know exactly how things went down. We don't know exactly what went down. We don't know exactly what the full accusation is. We do know that Ian Borders is reportedly the Auburn assistant that was there. I don't know if he was or not. But where do we draw the line here, Greg? What should be allowed? And I'm not talking NCAA rules because we already had a great conversation with John Sunvold earlier about NCAA rules and what actually can be ruled against, ruled for,
right?
What hammers can be thrown, what fists can be laying down. We don't know. It's not real with them right now. But from the code of ethics standpoint, morality clause, we'll say, what should be allowed here? What's against the rules? What's too much from a coaching perspective?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. All is fair in love and war. Can we all agree with that?
Mostly, yes.
To an extent, I know that that's not a comfortable thing to acknowledge, but frankly, with what these guys do, it is dog eat dog, man. You have to be out in front of it. Now, am I comfortable with a guy buying a courtside seat to go try to actively recruit a guy that's currently on my roster? Yeah, it's pretty uncomfortable. It's just blatant. It just feels unnecessary, given the back channels that you can access to go and potentially recruit through an agent or a third party or some type of intermediary, a high school coach, an AAU coach, whatever it might be. Like, there's a million ways to do it. Why would you be so front and center?
John, do you have an issue with him just attending the game? If that was it, he was just there.
If it was that,
bought
no.
ticket, by the way.
I mean, if he bought a ticket, which he's just a person going to see a game, but then again, didn't Connie Stallions a couple times buy tickets?
And obtained.
He did credentials. Yeah,
credentials
that to me
be
is,
on the sideline.
That's over the line, but someone buying a human being buying a ticket.
Yeah, he was just cheating, trying to steal signs. He wasn't trying to actually get players.
No.
He didn't want the city.
That's
players.
right. Yeah, can't do that.
Of course not.
Now, I'll say if it's on record that there are intentional attempts at conversations taking place, like pregame, that in my opinion, that crosses lines.
Don't disagree. But what is the difference? We dealt with this with Caden Proctor, right, a couple of years ago. Caden Proctor, they determined that Iowa was tampering when it was literally just a guy checking in saying, hey, man, hang in there. You're going to be fine. He was a true freshman and struggled in a game.
We didn't know how much Caden Proctor was texting that coach on a weekly basis.
We have no idea.
Could have been every day.
Could have been. Maybe they just have a friendship. Maybe they have a relationship. I mean, granted, if there's smoke, there's fire more often than not. But still, what is tampering? We must first identify what tampering is. And not many people can actively describe what tampering is. Maintaining a relationship, to me, not tampering. Going and asking a guy to get out of his contract or sending pictures of a screenshot of a contract, yes, that feels a bit egregious.
I would agree with
what
that.
we talked about with the Luke Farrelly incident between Clemson and Ole Miss.
What should coaches do in a situation like this?
You know, I don't think it's the easiest thing in the world to figure out what's right and what's wrong. I don't blame any coach for trying to push the envelope.
Yeah.
But I also think this is just me. If a guy buys a ticket to a game and I'm that guy that bought the ticket to a game, I would never be that blatant. It's like you don't often see someone be that blatant, right? That feels aggressive. Similar to the Ole Miss situation. Like I would never text a player a picture of a contract. You know what I mean?
That just feels
It feels aggressive.
reckless, careless.
Which makes me think that there might be nothing to it because it just feels like it's too aggressive.
Way too aggressive. It just is not no cares for any sort of repercussions at all. That's essentially proving what we're saying about the NCAA, that they can't do anything and won't do anything.
No.
So, I don't. You're intentionally going and trying to start conversations, have those conversations. I think that's a bit too much. We also don't know, as we've stated before, what that relationship prior looked like, is. How often do they talk? What are they talking about? How long have they known each other? No idea. Don't know.
No clue. None. Literally none. No idea. And that's part of the challenge is like there's a fine line between being friendly and being predatory. And I don't know if we always know what that fine line looks like.
Absolutely. All right. So I think when we come back, we will have some audio of some of these accusations, how it sounded, maybe a little bit more detail to the situation of how this thing all took place. I think I'm going to be able to get that. We'll have that for you to hear when we come back next right here on Jocks. 800-239-9569, 800-239-WJOX. Text in 205-834-9450. Tweet in at Mac and Cube. What is crossing the line as far as talking to players on other teams, going to watch players on other teams? We're going to have audio for you in a few moments on some of these accusations that are flying around that are being made. Pointed at an Auburn assistant, by the way. So maybe some of the audio that we get from Queens head coach Grant Leonard will put a little bit better into perspective of exactly what it's going to look like. Multiple people are reporting that Auburn assistant Ian Borders was the coach that was close to the bench. They're saying it was Yov Berman, 6'4", standout guard, averaging 12.6, 3.9 boards, 3.7 assists in his breakout season. A couple of you chiming in on this. Alex Page tweets in, at Mac and Cube, if the AU assistant was at the West Georgia-Charlotte game, their conference tourney was in Jacksonville, Florida. That was the day before the Bama basketball game. Interesting, he was there the day before a big game, sat courtside. He's not like an in-game coach, though. Like he's not an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, that type of a coach for the program, my understanding.
But what does that really make a difference, though?
I think he's just saying, like, why would he be down there the day before they played Alabama? And that's probably why they lost to Alabama, which he wouldn't have much to do with why they lost to Alabama, in my opinion. Jeremy Rain says, you can watch the game online and recruit or purchase a ticket and recruit. At least purchasing the ticket helps the school. Maybe kids end up going to school, have to payday the departure school fee for taking their guy. We have seen some of those already happen. There's a quarterback from Cincinnati named Brendan Sorsby that's getting sued by Cincinnati.
Yes.
For this. They want their money.
Understandable.
Think Goodfellas.
Yes. Now you're speaking my language.
You want to leave?
Yeah.
Goodfellas.
You want to leave?
Want to play somewhere else? Goodfellas. Yeah, I think y'all know what that is.
Go The Godfather, too. You want to? Yeah, you want to do this on the day of my daughter's wedding.
Bold.
I don't know. My thing is, with all due respect to the program that is declaring these things having happened, it's not like Auburn can't reach out to that guy's representation at any point and begin a conversation. What's the difference?
Are you mad at what the Auburn coach is doing or what's going to probably happen with your guy?
You know it's the latter. You know it's the latter. And
so you're essentially, so that just becomes, I'm putting program or coach or both on blast.
Correct.
Because I'm upset.
Probably. And understandably. I would be very, very frustrated if I were that head coach. But I would also know that it's really an unfair world right now in college basketball where you're seeing guys at mid-major programs get bumped up all the time with big paydays. Like it's just an unfortunate reality. It stinks.
Is it a fair question to say Queens probably takes some guys through the portal?
Yeah, probably.
Have you or your assistants ever attended one of the games that a potential prospect was playing in there? And would anyone notice it if they did?
Probably not. Here's my question. Like Andy Kennedy. Andy Kennedy loses Yoxel, right, to Michigan. If Michigan were there in Bartow Arena watching him, does it change the outcome?
No.
No. It just is what it is. Like, it just is what it is.
I think AK would tell you that he was proud that they kept him for the extra year that they did.
Yeah. I mean, it just is what it is. It stinks. It's just the reality. It's just you're taking a knife to a gunfight, and that's a hard thing to deal with. That's a tough thing to stomach. And I'm not saying you need to like it. I'm just saying I don't see if a guy being in attendance, I don't see that really making a difference.
All right, we'll finish this conversation.
Is the kid going to go in the portal, and does he create more leverage by a guy being in attendance? Like, I don't understand that. I don't know.
Is it not going to happen if he's not in attendance?
Correct. That's what I'm getting at. If it doesn't change the outcome, what does it matter? That's my whole thing. It's a little bit like yelling at the refs because they missed a holding call in the second quarter. Like, okay, yeah, it's frustrating.
No,
But
be careful.
ultimately-
The penalty vultures can come out and tell you that's why they lost that
But
game.
ultimately, is it why the kid's going to leave? No. Like, I understand, frustrating. Yeah, unfortunate. But let's say the coach at Queens at some point is the head coach, I don't know, Purdue.
Be careful.
And this will
I tell
all
my son about being a good teammate. You
This
start
all
falling for some of the things that the other kids are saying. Be careful when you strike out.
That's
Be
what I'm
careful
saying.
when you make a
That's what
bad
I'm
throw.
saying. Be careful.
Be careful when you miss a ground ball.
I just wouldn't do it. Like, I
Be
wouldn't
very
do it.
careful.
That's all I'm getting at. I don't know. But also at the same time, let's acknowledge the fact that it's probably not the smartest move on Auburn's part.
It feels a bit.
It's not necessary, nor is it intelligent.
I need more context. Let's
I
see if
get
we
it.
can. Let's
I
see
get
if
it.
we can get a little context with some audio from the head coach that's involved next, right here on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Let's see if we can get a little more context to this entire situation here and just kind of how this thing plays out. Played out, is playing out, will play out. Mac and Cube in the morning, 9:46, Thursday, March 12th, right here on Jocks. Listen online, jocksfm.com. Go find the Jocks app. Watch us live on YouTube. Search Jocks 945. All right, this is Queens head coach Grant Leonard discussing exactly how things went down when he apparently saw Auburn assistant Ian Borders in the front row of a game of their conference tournament on SiriusXM College Channel 84 on campus with Chris Childers.
All right, so let's talk about something you put out there in the world about an SEC coach scouting your game and getting a courtside seat. We know poaching is real. We know that there are seemingly no rules. no ethics in any of this stuff. People now, I guess, are blatantly just saying, screw it, we're going to come scout. What's the reality of what you have to deal with to maintain a roster?
Well, and like, look, like I am actually really forward about this. If a player far outperforms his value for us, I will help them go into the portal and help run the recruitment to make sure they get the situation that is right for them so that they can have continued success. And we have done that with multiple players in the last few years. I don't want to hold kids back. I do think there's a respect level. Like, is live scouting legal? Okay, I don't know, but the SEC put something out saying that you could do it, all right, at conference tournaments. But buying a courtside seat and trying to interact with that kid in warmups is the wrong way to do it. That's all I'm going to say. And that, to me, is going past the line of integrity. And so I'm against that. This young man, if he chooses to go in the portal, he's done everything he can for us. I will help him, but I don't think that's what the case is. But, you know, for our team and the integrity of our team, we're trying to win a game. We're trying to win a conference tournament. And then more importantly, like the guys that want to stay, we'll always have more retention than most because we treat our kids right and we're very upfront and respectful about the process of them.
Was the guy blatant about it? Like, was he wearing a team polo and stuff? Like, was he just showing up like, hey, coach? Was it one of those deals?
More than blatant when you buy a courtside seat and try to have a verbal interaction as guys are warming up.
Verbal interaction as guys are warming up. Now, I guess the context, Greg, that we don't know here, did player go over and initiate verbal contact?
Potentially.
Was
Don't
coach
know.
going out of his way to, you know, was he waving down said player? Come talk to me. How much? We don't know. So there's just still a lot of context here that we don't know that I feel like we need if we're going to make ultimate judgments on this situation. At the end of the day, it feels like a bad idea in general to be this blatant about it, to be this just out in front of everything with what you're obviously trying to do, attempting to do, want to do. And I'm sure there's another side to this that we don't know. There are going to be a lot of people that are going to say, dog eat dog world. This is today's college sports, man.
Correct.
Good luck.
But there's a way of doing things. Like I get very much this coach's frustrations. Totally support it. Totally understand it. I also understand why, from Auburn's perspective, it's like, who cares? We're going to go take what we want. I get that too. I do. I get it. But there is a right way of doing things. Like, there's a right way of doing things. And it's unnecessary for a guy to be there courtside and interact with the player before the game to ultimately get in contact with that player or his personnel that help him make decisions.
Do you think that this coach found out afterwards?
I'm not 100%
Surely he didn't see this happen live. Because then you
I don't know.
Then you actually do something about it, correct?
Yes, I would think so.
I just wonder to what extent it was that was seen conversation-wise. And if it was that egregious, do you make the move then? Because it almost sounds like here's something that Greg and I deal with a lot. And this is just full disclosure for the people listening. Greg and I deal with this a lot, and I talk to other people that are in the media and write or do shows, podcasts, whatever. Text from coach or SID or person involved with school. Can't believe you said this about this. How could you do that? Which usually response from one of us or other person in similar situation is, oh, so you enjoyed the interview with so-and-so and our conversation about so-and-so. Well, no, I didn't hear it. Got it. Here's the link. Would love to have a conversation with you about this after you listen to it. And things are very different then. So I say that with a little bit of the mindset of, did he see it? Because oftentimes when you hear about things from a third party, well, I'm just going to be real here. It pisses you off a lot more.
For sure. Or if you hear things out of context.
If I see somebody talking about me, I'm like, okay, cool, got it. Greg comes and tells me, man, you wouldn't believe what Saber was saying about you yesterday. It ratchets up about 3-4 times.
1,000%.
And that's just because your brain, most human brains, are usually going to go to a much worse place than what it actually was. I'm very guilty of this in a lot of instances in life.
Yes.
I can put some really negative things in my own brain about how things are happening, how things are being said, what's being said. It's just being a human. So I would also like to know from said coach Greg, did you see it, Grant Leonard? Were you watching it? If you were watching it, why didn't you just go do something then? But I would imagine that the answer to that is no. And now we're having a conversation about what somebody else saw.
Yes.
Which then brings in a little bit of he said, she said. Again, we don't know exactly how it happened, what went down.
With you 100%.
Damian, what are your thoughts on it?
I'm kind of with you. If the coach had seen it, then you could have stepped right in and said, "Hey, like we ain't doing that here." But if the scout was just, I mean, if he bought a ticket, sat down, I mean, he's no different than any other fan that was just watching the game.
Okay, Greg.
I think you're 100% right because I get those texts all the time. What did you mean by this? Well, because it reads different than when you actually listen to the context and the tone of the conversation.
You put your context on it.
Like, if you just listen, if I had $1 for every time the SID at Alabama called me, it was like, what the heck? I'm like, go listen to it and tell me what you think. As opposed to reading it on AL.com, who are going to piecemeal it together. And this is not a knock on AL.com. They have a job to do too. Like, you're not going to click on an article that is glowing. You're going to click on an article that creates some type of reaction. And the reaction, naturally, is going to be stronger if it's posed as a real negative takeaway. I'm not mad at AL.com for running a business. Does it frustrate me from time to time when On3 takes things out of context and puts them in an article? Of course it does.
They just put a graphic with one word, though.
Exactly.
Mad.
Today would have been
Big
Gene
mad.
Simmons and overrated.
But that's the
Not
thing.
good.
Like, yes, it's very frustrating to me, but I also know that if people really actually listened, if they took 5 minutes to actually listen to the context, know that almost 99% of what we say here on Mac and Cube is presented in a glass half full way. Like, all right, this was bad. This is what they can do to improve it. Here's how they can be better in the future. Instead, they just focus on this is bad. Just listen to the whole context. So I think in this scenario, I can't tell you exactly what the Auburn coach might have said. I can't tell you if he initiated it. I can't tell if the player initiated it. I can't tell you any of those things. All I know is this. A coach went out of his way to be in attendance at a place that he didn't need to necessarily be attendance at. So both can be wrong here. He doesn't need to be there. First and foremost, you want to recruit a guy, go through the back channels, man. Do the tampering the old-fashioned way, all right? Don't tamper in plain daylight.
That's what bus lockers are for. Come
Exactly.
on.
Cheat better.
Tamper in the alley, not on the main drag, all right? That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. And secondly, if you're the coach, know that people will now be keeping track of this down the road in the event in which you get a better job. You get a better job, and you're the one doing this. You don't think these... Maybe they'll do it in the alley like it's supposed to be done, but you don't think this is going to come back up at some point? Like, you can't cast stones in glass houses, man. It's a tough spot to be in. Nobody's right in this situation. I do feel for the Queens coach. I do. I feel for them greatly. But we don't live in a fair world. What's the number one thing you tell your kids all the time?
Life ain't fair.
Life ain't fair. I wish it was.
I
Man,
say
it'd
don't
be
even
awesome.
say it anymore. I look at them and I say, what's not fair? Life.
Yes.
They know. They know what's coming.
Today on McElroy and Cubelic, Greg wants cheating.
Yes. Greg
That's the
endorses
takeaway from
cheating.
Endorses cheating.
Greg says tamper in alley.
It's a graphic with your face that says cheat better.
Cheat better. Cheat smarter.
Cheating apostrophe.
Bad at cheating.
Pretty much.
That's
Well,
the
this
thing.
happened to us in a similar situation referencing a former SEC quarterback this week. People took it and thought it was personal and thought it was an attack on an individual. And essentially it was, we know what happened. This is our opinion about what we know took place. But other people wanted to take it and run with it and think that, we're mad at people when it's just not the case. I know what happened. Greg knows what happened. So, such is life.
Anybody got time for that?
And it ain't fair.
They say we got haters.
But we do know things.
Still
All right.
number one, according to Barrett Media.
Some people do listen, believe it or not. 3-man front coming up next.